Hi, everybody. Oh, thank you, Reverend John Riley. You have been a master at answering your own questions and living more and more in authenticity of your calling and that. So it's a privilege to share with you, to know you, and to all of you, Unity of Palo Alto. I love you very, very much. I'm missing my time there with you in physical form to hug, 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 hug every single one of you that would line up and wait for a hug. So big, big, big virtual hug today as you receive that through the wholeness of your own heart. And this message today is a vital one, I think. Particularly that one about the chocolate gravy is so important. So, just like when you get other new ideas, your mind will go chocolate gravy, yum, 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 or it'll go chocolate gravy. What fool would eat chocolate gravy without ever testing it to see, is that true for me? So, um, also to get on there and that fundraising, when you think about if these classes that are coming up there, is there anybody here got any forgiveness to do? It's like, yeah. So check your pulse. And if you have a pulse, that'll be your clue that you would run over there and sign up for that study. 70 times 7. We've been encouraged to look. So get a sense today of opening your mind and to come into an I don't know mind. The mind that says, oh, I can quote Eckhart Tolle, I can quote Marianne Williamson, I can quote John Riley, I can quote Jesus, I know the Beatitudes up one side and down the other backwards, and all the 5 unity principles that Casey so clearly and heartfeltly put forth for us here today. And then the question remains, where am I applying this? With what situation am I applying these teachings? And for any place that I'm in stress, suffering, emotional suffering, or otherwise, is the clear indicator of where this is only theory. So, realizations like, oh, I got the theory, I got the list, I can spout it on out there. It's like theory, realizations without application, hallucination. So then I believe I'm spiritually mature. It's like, I've been a truth student for 3 decades. It's like, well, tell your face because it has not caught up to how spiritually mature you are when you're still mad, frustrated, irritated, upset, righteous, indignant, resisting, pushing away, pulling forth, craving, demanding, averting, no, 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 the resistance of things of which we have no power over. And then from a 12-step perspective, let me change what I can. Let me awaken and apply the reality that there's things I cannot change. And the profound difference of changing what I can, and accepting, allowing for what I cannot, and to know the difference. So I believe that this realization without application is hallucination may have been recorded or spoken, quoted from Ernest Holmes, the writer and author, founder of Science of Mind. And I don't know if it's true or not. Someone told me that. So someone that needs something to do could go look that up. And regardless of who said it, today's about how am I going to apply this? So when I hear something like, there's one power and one presence in all the universe, it's like, well, it doesn't include her. It sure doesn't include him. Look at that attitude. Look what she's wearing or not wearing. It's like, well, wait a minute. Because for all of that, the aversion that I have to that, the resistance I have for that is my torture. It's my own upset, my own frustration. So if I really am motivated by freedom, then I'm going to choose differently in this interaction. So I'm in 7 classes at once that I'm facilitating. So it's been a spiritual boot camp for me, and very, very profoundly grounding, shifting, and undoing. So I've shared with some of the classes that I'm going around with these angels on my shoulder, these little things you used to see was the devil and the angel. So one's saying, take rest, take rest. The other one's going, I'm enraged, I have rage. So maybe you can relate to these polarities here. I see some of you can, some of you will tell the truth about it. So it's no little thing to bear this polarity of mind, the polarities of our emotional aspect, and the polarities of this physical aspect, and the depths of just how much this runs. So I was thinking about, I'm starting new classes also in August that'll use the 12 steps as a spiritual path. So I'd love you to check that out. For even if you've never been in 12 steps, I want to read some of the promises of the 12 steps today to see if that would motivate you to look at them, just like you may not have tried it yet. You may not have tasted this yet, but before you poo-poo it and throw it out, to see, wait a minute, if everything is beneficial to me, if all of this teaching could be beneficial to me, then how and where could this be beneficial to me? So one of them is the first promise of 12 steps as a tradition, as a spiritual path, is I will know a new freedom. I will know a new freedom. So even if you're 99% free, the 1% where you're not free, or that 1% where that knucklehead still trips you up every single day or two, then that's what's left of us. So I will know a new freedom. I will know a new happiness, even with the outer as the outer is. Promise 2 is I will not anymore regret the past or wish to shut the door on it. Would that be okay with you? To have a new freedom? And a new freedom when looking into the past. So before, when we look into the past, most of us, I say, if you want more shame and guilt, dredge the past. If you want more fear and torture, make up a future. So how to be able to look at the past as a teacher. How did this inform me? How does it inform me today? And 3, the promise is I will newly comprehend the word serenity. God grant me. So a realization of serenity, not a notion of serenity. 4, I will know peace, a peace that comes from forgiveness, from inner forgiveness, from forgiving self, a forgiveness of all things, all people, even though I cannot understand how or why these things happen, they did. So then one of my primary spiritual practices is to accept the mystery of it. So I can have peace and know peace even when I cannot understand things. And when I stop trying to make sense out of things that don't make any sense, peace is possible. The 5th promise is that no matter how far gone I am, I can see and will see how this experience can benefit me and can benefit others. There's nothing in vain. There's no suffering in vain. And then pain plus resistance equals suffering. So pain with less resistance, pain plus I'm going to see how this benefits me equals less suffering. So pain is inevitable. Suffering is changeable. And promise 6 is the feeling, the innate feeling, and the false feeling of uselessness. And the feeling of self-pity will disappear. Would any one of these things be enough to encourage you, to inspire you, to prompt you to begin right here and right now today to apply this? We will lose interest in selfish things and begin to gain interest in how to serve and how to be a host server and a servant server, a servant heart. So I'll be launching in the fall these groups based on the power of 8. And they're scientifically proven that who you are intending for, just like today's daily word is pray for others, pray with others. The people, scientifically it's proven that the people that were prayed for and prayed with did better. They did better. They had more well-being. Even if there was death or the disease didn't heal or cure, there was more vitality. There was more peace of mind. There was more calmness. There was more connection. So it's proven scientifically that it benefits the benefactor, the benefactee, so the people receiving it is proven scientifically. And more miraculous than that is the people that we're praying for and intending this had more well-being. So scientific evidence. So join me in the fall. Look for that and how you can sign up. So as we lose interest in ourselves and our selfish ways, that we see how then am I here to serve? So I know who I am. I know what I am. And I know how I serve. And I know who you are. And I know what you are. And I know how you serve. And then this self-seeking and the craving and the longing and the wanting and the needing slips away. Can you imagine being free from that craving, the longing for what isn't? And then our whole attitude, which I believe is the power of the New Thought Unity teachings, a practical path for spiritual living, a practical path. So regardless of what your theology is, there's ways here to apply this so that our whole attitude, our outlook upon life changes. Therefore, then, our fear of people, our fear of situations, our fear of insecurity, our fear of lack of power leaves us. So less fear. Would that be okay? Imagine you with less fear. And then we draw on the depth of these spiritual practices where we are aligned, atoned, attuned, connected, though that we then from that intuitive place, we're informed, prompted on how to handle any situation before that would baffle us or bewilder us or confuse us. So from this place of applied spiritual practice, we can access the upper room. We can access a higher mind, infinite potential, and only through application, through practice, through testing this. And then the last promise is we realize that God is in charge, that God is doing what God is doing. God is reality, and that God in mysterious ways is doing for us over and over what we could not do for ourselves. And if God is not your reference, if it's then universe is doing for us what universe does. Universe isn't a perfect unholding or being or mind. So try not to get tripped up on the words and let the mind throw out the promise of this without you giving it a fair test. So I get many chances throughout my day, and I bet you do too, to apply the teachings. So this week I was out to get a cashier's check in a city where my bank is not, and where there was no way the bank couldn't send me one. It was required. So a really different situation. So then I figured out a way around it by going to the ATM and withdrawing money based on my limits until I had enough money to go into a bank to buy a cashier's check, because they wouldn't take a check to purchase it because it may not be a good check. So there was obstacle after obstacle. So I went to the ATM to get the money. I was all like, oh, I have a solution. I'm in my high mind. I'm so innovative. I'm such a strategic problem solver. Like, look what I've done. So I drive up there, put that card in there, and it says, you're over your limit. I haven't withdrawn any money yet. I'm over the limit. So I take the card out, put it back in, take the card out, put it back in, like I was going to get a different result. Can anybody relate to this? So I never paused once during all that 3 episodes to presence myself. And when I did, I had the thought, go find somebody to help. So I drove through and said, hey, I'm trying to get money. I'm not past my limit, but it's giving me a limit notice. What could you do? How could you advise me? And she said, oh, it's not your limit. It's our limit. So you'll have to do 2 transactions instead of 1 to get the money. Great. Off I go. Proud of myself. Look how I'm applying spiritual principle. Got back up there, put the card in, 2 transactions. On the second transaction, it said, I'm over the limit again. After all I've done for God, after all the meditating, after all the praying, after all the praying for others. So pause again, back to the helper. And she said, well, it's because there's a fee on the transaction, so that counts. So you'll have to deduct that from the amount you're trying to withdraw and then try it again. So are you with me here? That, that in any situation, it's either plow through, push, use force, and this low, regressive, instinctive, it better work kind of attitude, or let me pause here, presence myself, have another plan, then proceed. And Eckhart Tolle, many of you have studied and learned over the years. I still listen to this teaching every time I get in my car. Says repeatedly, just for me to hear, maybe you today, the most important thing you can do for the whole world, the most important thing you can do for yourself and for the whole world is take 3 conscious breaths. Who will commit to that this week? 3 conscious breaths. Just before I have my tantrum, just before I start resisting and pushing away or longing and why me and when, like, wait, so just for today and just for this week, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to be with things differently. And I'm going to start by taking 3 conscious breaths. Then I'm going to see what I can do from that place. What would sane, sensible action be from here? So then pick, folks, now pick your favorite spiritual teaching, whatever it is. So your favorite spiritual teacher. Pick their quote. Pick the title of their book. Be Here Now. A New Earth. Return to Love. Beatitudes. There's one power and one presence in all the universe. I am one with that. My thoughts create my reality. My thoughts create my experience. So, how can I change my thoughts? Where, right here and right now in this situation, can I change my thinking about this? So, whatever your spiritual flavor is, whatever your spiritual guidance is, you're welcome to it. It's for you. You know, we all align in our own ways. So I'm not asking you to believe a thing. I'm asking you to look at what you believe and see, are you actually convicted in the belief? Do you hold a conviction for what you claim to believe? And to the degree that you can and do, to use today and this week to apply it in any situation. So the first time a knucklehead appears in your experience, you'll get a few based on reality. How could I be with this differently? What spiritual law, what spiritual practice can I apply here to this very situation? So it's not a Sunday at 10 o'clock kind of thing, but it's situation to situation to situation, to person to person to person, to relationship to relationship to relationship, to encounter to encounter. God is. I am. I think that way. I think in alignment with that. I pray in alignment with that. And I live in alignment with that. And it'll take some WORK as far as I can tell. So let's kind of muscle up, spiritually muscle up this week to go into our own boot camp of application, shifting away from theory and quotes and platitudes, and see, what am I actually convicted in? What do I actually believe? And how, whatever that is, then how can I apply it to this any stressful situation? And begin again. So take a deep breath now. And get a sense of taking rest in the middle of all that's going on, in the middle of the uncertainty, the middle of the emotional vortex, the physical threats and perceived threats. And take a breath where you can just rest. So I invite you to put your right hand on your heart and your left hand on your belly. And breathe one more time. And to get a sense of this rest, divine rest. And embody as we meditate and use this time of meditation for embodiment. That you get a sense from your head to your toe and from your toe all the way up through your crown. A new sense of freedom. A new sense of being free and detached and less affected by the past, so that you can look back into the past objectively. So that regardless of what happened, I embody serenity. I accept what is over. I accept what cannot be changed. Get a sense of peace from the head to the toe, and all the cells of your body activated today as peace. I invite you to say silently or aloud, I know who I am. I know what I am. I know how I serve. So imagine now putting on a new pair of glasses. Glasses that cleared any blurred vision, glasses that bring into focus all that is, glasses that give you new sight for what your inner world is about, new sight, new perspectives on the outer world. And regardless of what is presenting, that you have a power within you to see it rightly. That you lose interest in being right and have a renewed interest in making things right. And another big deep breath. And gratitude, gratitude, gratitude for life, what you've gotten to experience, what you've been blessed by and blessed with. Gratitude for God and a new realization of spirit, of source, of our ability today to accept what cannot be changed and to be all about changing what we can, knowing that it is inner work. We give thanks for this time, this remembering, this awakening, this overcoming, this beginning.